Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. We have a time for change call tonight to review and clear up some things with the RV, some recent postings of medical bed process. There's some things that we will be opening up and discussing. So that's at 9 p.m. tonight. A lot of us collect things in the body. We collect memories, we collect experiences. We don't ever stop with this. Some of us will clean the house at times and dump it because it's not necessary. It's in the past and it's gone. And so life is full and overflowing with new all the time, but it's necessary to empty out the old to make room for the new to enter, Eileen Caddy. And we come across people. There are people on the planet that, we're always learning anyway. All of us are learning. We'll always be learning. And and I've had people say, have you ever wondered why some people attract money quite easily while others work, 12-hour shifts and every day and barely make ends meet? Well, then people will say, well, they're just special, or they're unique, they're out of the ordinary. Those people that really just attract money all the time. But we all have that ability. Big difference between these two groups of people is the financial frequency they are sending out. This frequency is a real, live, measurable field of energy, which is created by the thoughts, feelings, and consciousness that we have whenever we think about, speak about, interact with money. People with a high frequency can attract money easily, while people with a low frequency have to struggle for money to flow their way. And it's that simple. To increase the amount of money you can receive, it's important to first understand what money actually is. I really don't think people give this much attention on, what is it? Simply put, money is energy. And they call it currency because it was derived from the root word current. This current is a flow of electrons that produces a natural electrical magnetic field. The stronger the electrical current, the more intense the magnetic field becomes. The income you make each month is a byproduct of the electrical current you're radiating out. The higher the income you receive, the stronger your magnetic field is, and the easier it becomes for you to attract more of it. This is why rich people seem to effortlessly grow richer. They feel a higher financial frequency inside themselves as they see what is physically in their bank accounts. Now, the positive is that we don't need to acquire a massive pile of cash to increase our financial frequencies. All we need is to learn how to think, feel, and interact with others in a consistently abundant way. You feel the magnetic field of energy around you now, and this is what will start attracting real abundance to you. As the great law of attraction states, like attracts like. When you're living from a state of abundance consciousness for many consecutive weeks on end, the physical manifestation of money will start materializing around you, through you, and eventually get magnetized into your bank account. Your prosperity consciousness is not dependent on money. Your flow of money is dependent on your prosperity consciousness. As you can conceive of more will come into your life, Louise Hay. When we are accessing, you've heard it, the millionaire mindset, the billionaire mindset, the trillionaire mindset, however you want to label it, you're feeling like a zillionaire. You're excited about your future, feeling the possible abundance that is possible beyond your comfort zone. This opens you up to receive the unlimited possibilities available to you by stepping into the zillionaire mindset every day. You will mysteriously begin manifesting more abundance into your life. You can do this through listening to your God within you. And this supercharged abundant feeling allows you to truly relax, let go of all financial worries, and feel safe because you know you have the power to easily manifest whatever you need, even if you should lose it all. The higher state of abundance consciousness is where wealth is generated and is truly what creates financial freedom. The reason this works is because we are bioelectric magnetic beings, deeply connected to an electric, conscious, alive universe. We are bioelectric magnetic beings, deeply connected to an electric, conscious, alive universe. Our physical bodies have a subconscious mind, which controls a large extent of frequency of energy that we are sending out. This universe does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. When we imagine ourselves to be completely rich, and we're feeling this richness in every cell in our bodies, we actually turn into money magnets. As we grow and evolve with this higher monetary frequency, we will consistently attract this greater level of abundance throughout our lives. And to understand that every one of us, it is not only my right and my privilege to walk in the abundance God has for me, it is my responsibility, just as it is my responsibility to live the rest of my truth. Jan Dennis. We all deserve the best of everything. It's our natural state of being. So why all the struggling? Because it is our perspective, and it's what the society has taught us, molded us into believing. You grew up in a family where your mother or father continue to tell you, you can't afford that, or we can't afford this, or we can't afford that, and year after year after year after year after year, you know what's going to happen to you. You will end up doing the same thing. And our direction as a people is that we completely transcend all impoverished thoughts hovering around our current financial situations. And to do this, we will first need to step back and view all of our financial problems as opportunities in disguise. This will get us operating at a higher vibration instantly, seeing everything in our lives as an opportunity for our growth, and will naturally give birth to positive thoughts, feelings, and beliefs about our current financial situations. As each of these positive thoughts build upon the other, we will begin feeling an unstoppable positive flow of positive energy towards our financial futures. This highly empowered positive energy is what becomes our fuel to manifest the level of income, wealth that we truly desire. Now, whatever monies that come to us, right? In other words, when we act upon something, the actual monthly income that we made last month is deeply related to what we feel we deserve. So the question to ask ourselves is, how worthy are we to receive the financial freedom which we've been dreaming of? Our financial worthiness relates to our self-esteem. A lot of people don't have good self-esteem. Have you guys met them? Maybe yourself? Who knows? There's a lot of people that don't have genuine good self-esteem. They have a low self-esteem. They don't think highly of themselves. And we're not talking ego. We're talking heart-mind. They don't think highly of themselves. They don't have confidence in themselves. And they don't have a lot of faith in themselves. But it is not solely dependent on it. As our self-worth grows and we increase in our feelings of financial worthiness, we will feel more magnetic and financially capable of receiving this abundance. And the more we understand how powerful and real this field of electric currency is, and start becoming super sensitive to it, the easier it becomes to control it, increase it, magnetize the income that we truly deserve. Since money is energy, our financial affairs tend to reflect how our life energy is moving. When our creative energy is flowing freely, often our finances are as well. If our energy is blocked, our money does too. Shakti Gule. Now, lastly, it may shock some people to know that true financial freedom doesn't always come from having $1 million in the bank. The more funds that one person acquires, the more often they become cautious, fearful, and less free. I don't know if you've experienced that. The more funds that one person acquires, the more often they become cautious, fearful, and less free. Real financial freedom is all about your relationship with money. And if it is coming from a place of trust and freedom rather than a feeling of need, greed, and possessiveness, the secret to making this shift is stepping into an enlightened relationship with money. It goes to our belief system in ourselves and being clear and understanding, what is everything? It's a frequency. It's an electric, energetic frequency. Everything forms everything. Now, what's the primer? What is it that actually brings this energy into a form, moves into create into a reality and experience it? It's our thoughts. And depending on what thought we pick to give energy to. And it's tough for people that are in, low straits. Those of us who have been there more than once know that. So when you're in low straits, which means strapped, right? You say to yourself, right? I'm gonna keep a high frequency here. Now, the high frequency might come from your head and not your heart. See, the heart to the head and then out. So you become cognizant to the fact that it doesn't matter what position, it doesn't matter. You can shift the frequency from being in the toilet to being as high as the sky. So, and you can shift it quickly through the heart mind by basically communicating with yourself and saying, and establishing a wonderful rapport with current, electrical current. And that's what money is. It's an electrical currency. And a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that, you derive, the base word of currency is current. And it flows. When it stops flowing, now I'll give you a great example of this. Look around you on this planet. I don't mean judgment. I mean just watch. You watch, look at everything. And you'll notice things, right? You notice with all the abundance on this planet, all the unlimited wealth, and it is unlimited wealth, okay? You look at things and you say, why in the heck isn't this better for people, or this is better for people? Why isn't everybody well taken care of? With all this unlimited wealth, why is it so lopsided? Because those who control the wealth, right, hoard it, collect it, and it stops flowing. Period. And in long run, the majority of those people leave the body, and that energy stays. And someone else comes along and picks up where the other left off, and it stays. So you look at the centuries on this planet. Look at all the time that has passed by. And when you realize, and yeah, there's different bells and whistles, and so it looks like we're advancing, but not really, and different clothes and some surroundings. But all in all, it's pretty much the same. The electrical current of wealth has been stymied for the masses on this planet, for the public, for the people, forever. The majority have struggled, gripped, scraped, crawled, wrenched, suffered, to even get to a point of self-sustaining on this planet without fear and worry and stress and anger and all the rest of the crap that goes with it through the ego mind. So when we're looking at ourselves, not in judgment, remember, you're always gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times, and you're in deep gratitude at all times. This changes the frequency. You change the frequency, and then you look at currency, and you say, this is nothing more than an electrical field. It's an electrical frequency, and it's meant to flow. What happens when you stop the flow? It shuts down. Doesn't affect anybody. Doesn't assist anybody, doesn't help anybody, doesn't move anything forward. Right? But see, people that acquire whatever means, however they acquire, steal, rob, rape, pillage, deceive, or even, honest. That's a good one, right? That they acquire. And when they acquire large sums, they become frightened, scared, worried, that they'll lose it, so they keep hoarding it, and it's never enough. They have to have more, and that's the ego mind, basically. It's the ego mind saying, you don't have enough, you got to get more. You don't have enough, you got to get more, you got to get more, you got to get more, you got to get more. So it's always, and for them to part with it is gut-wrenching for them to part with it. They're afraid that they part with it, they're going to lose it, and if they lose it, what are they going to do? Now, this is a society programming. This is why the society is so lopsided on this planet. It's because on not only how you're raised from the baby body, but also how everybody else is raised from the baby body, and that means forever. Parent after parent after parent after parent after parent after parent, tens of thousands, 20,000, 30,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, million, 2 million, 3 million years. And it's the same consistency. Different time, but the same consistency. So you look at, time is irrelevant, really. On this planet, time works as a construct, a constriction to control and keep the people enslaved on a directive external source reality to authority to move you unconsciously. Now, when we know this, so we switch to ourselves and we increase our currency, our current frequency, our electromagnetic frequency. And we begin to attract rather than distract, where we push it away. And so many of us believe that it's external. That hey, people will say they're not doing anything wrong. They haven't done it. They're doing everything they can to attract wealth, right? But it just doesn't work for them. So they give up. And life has dealt me this deck of cards, so I'm going to play them. There's nothing else that they believe they can do. When in actuality, they have created this frequency around them to constrict their freedom, to stop their wealth from flowing to them and away from them. It's like someone says, well, we're here to help each other, number one. Because we're helping ourselves by helping others. And I don't think many people get that. But see, you've got to help yourself to begin with in order so that you can help others without feeling stressed, forced, pressured, and pushed to help others, obligated to help others. So it starts with each of us to understand who and what we are, understand these frequencies and what they mean, and apply them, and to develop a strong sense of trust with ourselves, faith with ourselves, confidence with ourselves through the heart-mind, and with the universe. These are all crucial steps in order for us to be able to really, really, truly help others. Yeah, you help someone cross the street or carry groceries or, drive them to the store, help them here and there. Yeah, anybody can do that. I mean, it can be very small or very large. It just depends. But to get into that flow, it's a choice for us that we make to look at ourselves, treat ourselves with gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, and be in deep gratitude 24/7. That's crucial. That shifts our electromagnetic frequencies into a higher frequency. You're not doing it to get something, say, because you're doing it to help you, and by helping you, you're going to end up helping others, and it just grows from there and expands out. What do you think would happen, right? That the civilization becomes super abundant, everyone in the civilization. And so the worries, the stresses, and the fears, and anxieties, the finances, and all the crap that the structured society has laid upon the shoulders of humanity. And then you look at it, and it's difficult for many people because they've been so conditioned and programmed by others and other people's thoughts. It's difficult for them to break out of that, to move out of that box, that bubble. So they cling to it because it's all they know. And in a funny, strange way, it gives them comfort. I've heard people say, at least they know they're poor. I've heard people say that. That's one thing they know for sure. And then there's other people that are afraid because of man-made religion. They're afraid to have wealth because they believe that it's not a good thing. So they literally send out frequencies that tell the universe that they never care to have wealth. Financial wealth, well-being, and yet they struggle. And the funny thing is that they struggle, and they think that it's a good thing to struggle because they're being humble to the God in the sky. Right? And that's been going on for a very long time, the deception of the God in the sky. When all along, all of us are gods in the body. We look at somebody and they, say, wow, look at that, and look what they've got, and boy. I've heard people say, boy, if I just had 10% of what they've got, man, I could do a lot. And all of us have the power to create the wealth. Not really create it because it's already here, but to draw it towards us, to direct it effortlessly. And this is all for us to learn about this, to learn about it. And many don't because they're so stressed and stretched with day-to-day living, minute, second to second, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. Some people believe that enlightenment, that's another frequency and energy, is beyond the nature of things. And in reality, true reality, which is us, enlightenment is the very nature of things. But it has never been said that way. On the contrary, people's minds have been corrupted by creating a goal against nature, giving it beautiful names, supernature. And man was caught in this because of a very simple reason. The nature of things is where you already are. And it is not an excitement, and it is not a challenge, and it does not call on you to prove your ego, and it is not a faraway star. The mind wants something very difficult for its nourishment, something almost impossible. Only if you can achieve the impossible can you feel you're somebody special. Enlightenment is not talent. It is not like somebody being born a painter or a poet or a scientist. Those are talents. Enlightenment is simply everybody's very source of light. Enlightenment is simply everybody's very source of light. We have not even to go out of our houses or dwellings to look for it. Going out of your house to look for it, you have missed it. And nobody knows when you will be able to come back home. Enlightenment is nothing but realizing the fact that I am that which I have always wanted to be, and I have never been anything else, and I cannot be anything else ever. Enlightenment is nothing but realizing the fact that I am that which I have always wanted to be, and I have never been anything else, and I cannot be anything else ever. The very definition of nature is that you cannot go beyond it. You can make an effort and create misery, anxiety, anguish, but you cannot go beyond it. It is you. It is every one of us. How can we go beyond ourselves? It is our very life source, our very existence. Wherever we will go, we will be it. There have been records of people whose first experience of themselves was just a belly laugh, seeing the absurdity of what they were trying to do. They were trying to be themselves. That is the only impossible thing in the world, because you are already it. How can you try to be it when you're already it? But the priests and so-called religious leaders and all those who have wanted all of us to be enslaved have given us ideals. They have told us, unless you behave in a certain way, you are wrong. Unless you do the things that they prescribe, you are not good. Nobody ever asked these people, who has given you the authority to decide for others? Who has given you the authority to decide for others? These are the politicians. These are the religious leaders. These are the priests. Who has given you the authority to decide for others? If you think something is good, do it. But you have no right to tell anybody else to follow you. The great corruptors, the great poisoners, are the people who have created following. Because following simply means you are being put into an absurdity against yourself. The great corruptors, the great poisoners, are the people who have created following. Because following simply means you are being put into an absurdity against yourself. You are being told that you have to be somebody else that you can never be. This has created the whole world of tremendous misery. Unless we see the roots, this misery cannot disappear. We can go on increasing our gadgets, our technology, but the misery continues. It is not that only the poor man is miserable, but that the poor man is less miserable than the rich man. I've experienced this. The poor man is less miserable than the rich man. The poor man at least has a hope. The rich man is living hopelessly. Now, he knows that he has done all he could, and his life is as empty as ever, perhaps emptier. And death is coming closer. Life is becoming every moment shorter. He has wasted it in accumulating money, power, and prestige. He has wasted his life in being a saint, praying before man-manufactured gods. And all this has been done so that we can never simply be just ourselves. Expressing only a simple morality, and that is, never go against your nature. Even if all the Buddhas of all the ages are standing against it, don't pay attention. They have nothing to do with you. They did what they felt was right for them. You choose to do what you feel is right for yourself. And what is right? It cannot be defined by any scripture, cannot be defined by any outer criterion. There is an intrinsic criterion to be understood. That which makes you happier is good. That which makes you happier is good. This is an intrinsic criterion to be understood. That which makes you happier is good. That which makes you blissful is the only morality. That which makes you miserable is the only sin. And sin, as we know, is simply just missing the target. That which takes you away from yourself is the only thing to be avoided. Rejoice in yourself, and you are enlightened. You have always been enlightened. There is no way to be unenlightened. Many have tried in many ways, but they end up conceding that they have failed. You cannot become unenlightened in whatever position, doing whatever kinds of things, whether you go north or you go south, you still remain enlightened. In Japan, they have a very beautiful doll. Perhaps they are the people who make the most beautiful dolls. And this doll is an ordinary doll. In Japan, its name is Daruma. But it is the Japanese distortion of the name of Bodhidharma. The doll is made according to Bodhidharma's insight. The doll is heavy in the legs and very light towards the head. So you can throw it anywhere you like, but always gets into the lotus posture. You cannot do anything to it. People may have forgotten it has become just a doll for children to play with, but it represents what I'm saying and what Bodhidharma was saying. There is no way for you to be unenlightened. Who has put this idea in your mind that you have to become enlightened? Miss Prim, the elderly spinster, is giving an introductory talk at the girls' college. Now, girls, she says, whenever you go out, remember, no smoking in the streets, no bad conduct in public, and when the men bother you, ask yourself, is an hour's pleasure worth a lifetime of disgrace? Now, girls, are there any questions? A voice from the back of the hall cries, how do you make it last an hour? There are people around, all of us, driving us crazy. Otherwise, everything is perfectly as it should be. This is the most perfect world. Nothing is missing. But a few crackpots cannot sit at ease unless they drive a few other people into running after shadows, which can never be realized. And the more those people feel they cannot be realized, the more meaninglessness, the more hopelessness, the greater the feeling of utter emptiness. A sadness settles and becomes thicker as time passes by. Never accept any criterion that makes you miserable. Never accept any criterion that makes you miserable. Never accept any morality that makes you feel guilty. Never accept anything that is trying to enforce something upon you against your simple nature. Be yourself, and you are perfect. Move away from yourself, and you're in for great trouble. Everybody's in trouble. My own experience of coming in contact with thousands of people is that I've never seen a man who is really miserable. On the contrary, I've seen people enjoying their misery, exaggerating their misery. One feels immensely compassionate that people who could have blossomed into beautiful flowers are shrunken. They've lost the way to their own home, and everybody is trying to help them to go somewhere else. Become a Buddha, become a Jesus, become a Moses. But nobody ever says to you, just be yourself. What connection exists between you and Moses? What are the ties between you and Jesus Christ? But people are worshiping, praying, hoping that someday they will become the ideals of their imagination. Naturally, there are always failures. You are a rose flower, and you're going to be a rose flower. Let the whole world condemn or appreciate. It does not matter. You are a rose flower. You are going to be a rose flower. Let the whole world condemn or appreciate. It does not matter. Once a man takes a stand that, quote, I am going to assert myself, end quote. It has nothing to do with ego. It is simply protecting yourself against a criminal world corrupted for thousands of years. You, all of us, have every right to protect ourselves, not to be poisoned. And there will be no need in us for any God, for any religion, for any moral code, for any methodology, for any effort to become enlightened. Just being natural is more than we could ever imagine. Now, some people ask, does enlightenment need place, a special time to happen? Every place is special, because every place is overflowing with the divine. No place is ordinary. Enlightenment can happen even in your toilet. Enlightenment is not afraid of your toilet. It can happen anywhere. You need not go to sacred places. There are none. All existence is sacred. You need not go to Varanasi or Jerusalem or Kaaba. All nonsense. Every place is full of the divine. Every point is special. And what special time are you asking about? Is there a season, a certain climate for enlightenment? Enlightenment is not really happening. If it were a happening, then maybe in a certain soil, in a certain climate, in a certain place, on certain days, it would be more possible. But enlightenment is not happening. Enlightenment is simply a recognition that we have always been enlightened, that never for a single moment have we lost it. We have just fallen asleep. That's why we come across strange Satori experiences of Zen masters. Somebody is passing by the market, hears somebody reciting the Diamond Sutra. Just hearing one line, he becomes enlightened. How is it possible? Just hearing one line from the Diamond Sutra, hearing that you are already enlightened from the very beginning. And it can happen because enlightenment is our natural. It's our very nature. It is not something outside of us. The flower is already flowering. We just don't look at it. We go on looking somewhere else. We don't look within. It can happen. It happens sometimes that the master hits the disciple, and suddenly the master's staff on his head, and something triggers. Thinking stops. Suddenly he recognizes, comes to awareness. It is said a disciple was sitting silently meditating for months, for years. And the master came with a brick, started rubbing the brick just in front of the disciple who was sitting like a Buddha. The disciple had become very skillful in sitting for hours together, like a statue, unmoving. Now this master was rubbing the brick on the stone, and of course the disciple must have felt great disturbance. He must have felt his teeth on edge. Somebody rubbing a brick just in front of you, and nobody else but his own master. He tried to control, and then it was too much, and he said, "Stop it. What are you doing?" The master said, "I'm trying to make a mirror out of this brick. Rubbing it. One day it will become a mirror." The disciple laughed. "You must have gone mad." And the master said, "What about you? You're rubbing the brick of your mind for years and years and years. And do you think anything is going to happen?" Suddenly the clouds disappeared. Yes, the disciple recognized, fell at the feet of the master. The master has to watch for the moments when the layer of unawareness is very thin. Enlightenment can happen any place, can happen any moment. You just have to allow it to happen. It is not a question of place and time. It is a question of your allowing it. Whenever, in whatever place, it can happen to you. Enlightenment is available. It does not come from the outside. When the thoughts disappear, it comes from your inside. When the thoughts are no longer clamoring for your attention and suddenly you are silent, simply attentive, simply alert, it comes from the deepest core of your being. It arises like a fragrance. And once you have seen it happen, it is yours forever. Now, seeing that everybody wants so much to be enlightened, now isn't it also true that we are all scared too? What is the fear that prevents us from relaxing into our own selves? The fear is natural because we have to drop our whole personalities, and that's all we have got right now. We don't know there is something behind it. We want to gain more. And I'm saying to you, to lose everything that makes you. That's the fear. Now, if you listen to the fear, then there is no hope. But, in fact, what have you got? Anxiety, anguish, boredom, despair, failure, thousands of complexes. This is your whole treasure. Just look at it. What is the fear of dropping this treasury and getting rid of your anxiety, throwing away your boredom? But things are really complicated. Why are you bored? And why can't you get rid of it? There must be some vested interest in it. You're bored with your wife or your husband. Every wife and every husband are bored. They're bound to come to a point when they're fed up with each other, bored. But there is a complication. You cannot just say goodbye to your wife. You have got children. You both love them. You don't care to leave those children. There's going to be a fight in a court over who is to have the children. Both can't have them. You have a certain prestige in the society. People think you're one of the model couples because they see you always showing love to each other. And when you leave for the office, you kiss your wife. When you come from the office, you kiss your wife as a ritual. Neither you mean anything, nor she means anything, and you both know it. And while you are kissing your wife, you are saying within yourself, to hell with all of this. But the people don't hear what you are saying within yourself. They just see. 30 years of marriage, 40, 50, and still they are so loving. As if on their car, the board is still hanging just married. Their honeymoon seems to be becoming longer and longer. 30 years of honeymoon, maybe more. There is no end to it. When you go into society, you pretend. You have to keep people's idea of you as the best couple. These are your investments. Perhaps you are rich because you married a rich woman. If you drop her, you will be a beggar again. You don't want to do that. Perhaps you got a good employment because of your wife's good looks. It is a very strange world. Or your wife's relations, influence. You may lose the job if you drop your wife. So how to drop the boredom? Boredom is connected with so many investments. It needs courage, great courage. And it is better to be a beggar, but without boredom. Far better than to be an emperor, bored, because boredom is spiritual begging. and it never comes alone. If you are bored, there will be despair. There will be anxiety, a continuous tension in the mind. What to do? You have to go on living with a woman or a man you would like to kill, and you have to kiss them. To drop boredom means to take a revolutionary step, whatever the cost. You're not going to drag through your life as a bored man, because what is the point of living? And you will see all around the world, everybody is bored. Somebody is bored with his work, his job. He never wanted to be a doctor, but his parents forced him to be a doctor because it is respectable, profit-making. You make the profit, you get the respect, and still you are called a great public servant because you are serving humanity. It is really great. Your parents forced you to become a doctor. You hate it. You never wanted it. You wanted to become a painter, but nobody listened to you. They said, you're crazy. If you want to be a painter, you'll die a beggar on the street. Forget all about this nonsense. When one is young, all kinds of romantic ideas come into the mind. Cool down, boy. We also have seen younger days, and we have also dreamed of great things. But now we know that all those romantic ideas are just a passing phase. We allow you to become a painter, you will never forgive us. We cannot allow you to be a painter. You want to be a musician, a dancer, a sculptor. But nobody is going to support you. You wanted to be a dancer, and you have become a businessman. You're bored with it. You really want one day to hang yourself from a tree and be finished with it all. But that, too, you cannot do because there is so much to do. You have to fill in your tax return forms, and the tax department is after you. You don't have time to hang yourself. So many things are unfinished around you. First, you have to finish everything, then go and hang yourself. But things will always remain unfinished. And the idea of hanging yourself gives a little relaxation, gives a certain pleasure that whatever the situation, there is always an exit. You can always hang yourself. So what's the hurry? And who knows? Tomorrow things may change. You may find the right woman. There is no right woman, and there is no right man. Nobody has ever found one. But the fantasy of finding the right man, the right woman, every couple, when they fall in love for the first time, think they are made for each other. This is the woman he has dreamed of always. This is what the man, the woman has been always thinking of, desiring. But by the time the honeymoon is over, you know that you are caught with the wrong person. You are not made for each other. But you go on fantasizing. Perhaps some other woman, because the world is full of women. So full of men. This time you missed. Next time? Now, I've known people that have gotten married 3 times. Now, in India, it's difficult to get a divorce. Now, almost their entire lives were wasted. Women were the trouble. The law is not easy, but someone they've managed, because in India, you can somehow manage everything. All that is needed is money. And this particular person had money. You can bribe everybody. It is a national tradition and not new, very ancient. Indians have been bribing God. So what do they care about bribing a clerk or a judge? When the Indian goes to the temple and says to his God, if I win this lottery, I will present you with sweets worth 5 rupees, or I will give you a feast to 11 Brahmins. What is this? And the lottery is 1 million rupees. With 5 rupees, he's trying to get 1 million rupees. Indians have been bribing God for centuries. It is their heritage. Nobody feels bad about it. You can give a bribe to anybody. Neither you feel bad about it, nor he feels bad about it, because he is doing your work. It is almost payment for the work. He's doing work which is far costlier than the bribe you are giving him. You manage everything. You can murder, and you will be released respectably by the court. All that you need is money. So one goes on thinking that tomorrow may be different. My friend changed wives 3 times, and he was always telling me, this time I'm not going to fall for a woman like the one I'm getting rid of. She is a real bitch. And I told him, you will always fall in love with a real bitch. He said, this is strange. You go on insisting, and the wonder is that you're always right. The next woman proved as bitchy as the first. The third woman proved as bitchy as the others. How do you predict it? You don't predict it. You're not an astrologer. You simply know you. I know what kind of woman will appeal to you. What had you fallen for the first woman? Why had you fallen for the first woman? Have you thought, analyzed what qualities of that woman have attracted you? And who is going to find the second woman for you? You will, again. And you will again be attracted to the same things. You have not changed your attractions. Your attractions have not changed. You have never bothered that you are responsible for having chosen that woman. That's why 3 times you have got the same kind of commodity. Again and again and again. It is not a question of divorce. It is not a question of changing women. It is a question of changing your mind. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Remain still. Whatever suffering is occurring in your life, remember that it's simply there because you keep dwelling on it. Stop entertaining these thoughts and realize that you are the master who is always manifesting your experience of reality. Sometime today, take 20 minutes to write down and release everything you think is wrong with your life. As you write it, feel it releasing from your system. Proclaim that the opposite thought is now true. Get it out of your system so you can stop thinking about it. Once you stop focusing on what's wrong and start thinking about what is right, your suffering will end. Throughout today, practice letting go of trying to fix yourself or figure out what's wrong and focus only on what's right with it. Practice formulating thoughts that are constructive rather than destructive today. Think only about what inspires you, excites you, and makes you happy. Your thoughts happen for you, not to you. Spend your entire day focusing on what an amazing and magnificent life you have. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We'll return here Thursday, November 3rd, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation